Hey guys. Last night was session number 12. It was the last week, technically, of the Strongest Families Institute program, Parents Empowering Kids, that my husband Harrison and I are doing. We chose to do this program because our son Maverick, who's 5, was having some difficulties with aggressive behavior and yelling and managing anger, so we just needed to get on the same page about that. We've seen a lot of success. There's definitely less hitting, and Maverick's more easily able to come down once he has big emotions. So I'm really glad we did this program. But at the same time, we've done it during COVID. And so a lot of the transitions and things that would normally be happening in our lives have been put on hold. And so we haven't had the going to school and the daycare kind of issues that we were having before. And so it'll be interesting to see how that changes as we get back into like regular life, though that still won't be happening for a while. We did notice this past week that it was a bit harder with Mav. Seeing people and seeing some friends, there was more big emotions after days like that. And so I know that we will be working on these skills for pretty much till my kids are out of the house, I would say. But the skills have been amazing. So each week we've learned one skill and kind of built on it and built on it and built on it. And this week is all about putting those together. Thinking about preventing setbacks, focusing on ongoing challenges, and remembering that this is going to take months, if not years, to change some of these behaviors. This week was set up so that you think about a particular behavior, and it could change over the next 4 weeks before we talk to our coach again, but we're thinking about skills we can use before, when the behavior is happening, and then after the behavior has happened. So before the problem behavior, the ones that they recommend are noticing the good, spreading your attention around, change warnings like, hey Mav, you have 10 minutes before we're going to go do this. Using the reward system, which is the sticker sheet reward system that we've been doing. And each of my videos talks about these different skills throughout. And then solver plans. So planning together how it's going to look for things happening at home, for things happening out in the community. We've been doing a lot of that. When the behavior is happening, some of the skills you want to use are your when-then statements, ignoring, complaining and whining, but also changing your own thoughts as the adult about what's happening and why this is happening. As the adult, walking away if that's what's needed, and for kids, that cool down idea as a last resort, so kind of like a timeout. And then after the behavior has happened, making sure to go back and notice the good, and then using the solver plan to come up with what's next for how to solve it the next time. Now, they have in here a big chart about kind of the main or common behavior problems that people might have. Hurting others, breaking things on purpose, lying and stealing, ignores the person in charge, or screams and swears. And I mean, we all have different like varying levels of those things at different times and different ages and different kids in our families. But the one I just wanted to touch on, and so you could kind of see how it works, is ignoring the person in charge, because sometimes that's an issue for us with both kids. So before the behavior becomes a problem, before ignoring what I'm asking them to do becomes a problem, the things I want to do is talk about the importance of following directions with my kids. When they are listening, really noticing the good and setting them up for success by asking them to do things that you know they're going to be successful at. Making a plan with SOLVER, which is the acronym for problem solving in this program, for times when they might have difficulty listening, and then using the behavior sheet, or there's a daily report card for school and daycare that we've been using with Kane for homeschooling purposes. So those could all be examples of things to do before the behavior becomes a problem. Now, let's say they're having trouble, starting not to listen. So make sure your child has heard your request and make eye contact with them. Continue to ignore whining and complaining. Change your thoughts to help you stay calm, definitely one I'm still working on. Use change warnings like, in 10 minutes, you will need to put the iPad away. Use when-then statements like, when you do what I'm asking, then you can have your snack. Don't bargain, don't make a deal. And if your child does not listen after you've tried the other skills, give a cool down warning. After 10 seconds, if the child does not listen, follow through with the cool down. For us, that's on the steps, and that one has been a challenge. We needed to use a cool down yesterday, and there was some running and hiding, and but still one we're working on. After the behavior. So once things have settled down, make sure your child understands there are consequences for ignoring people in charge or not listening to warnings. You could add listening to the reward chart to earn points. If you have older kids, you might need a short-term consequence. That might be something that we look at doing too. Make sure you're following through with what you're saying and use the same type of consequence over time so they get used to that. Now there's a different plan here for each of those 5 common behaviors. This is a really good session, this last one. But just that whole idea that we have to keep using these skills often. Every day, we need to keep working on them. As things change, as life changes again, as we have these big transitions like no more homeschool in the summer, maybe like going on vacation if that's a possibility this year, like when they go back to school and things start all over, it's going to be extra important to really focus on setting that consistency up. But this is my last video until next month. So parenting in a pandemic. So glad we've had the support of Strongest Families and our coach. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hope you guys are having a good one.